So seeing as how we're on a waterfowl farm here in northern Vermont, it's pretty understandable that I'd get a lot of questions about water. And probably the question I get more than anything else is, how do I keep my water from freezing? Whether it's the water that I set out for the ducks and geese or the water that I pump into the farm, people really do want to know, like, how do I keep it from freezing? And yeah, as I record this video, the weather right now is 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but I am 100% confident that when I turn on this pump, the water is going to be flowing. I guarantee you this water is going to go. I promise it's not going to be frozen. See? Crisp, clean water. It's fresh from our well, and I'm able to keep it flowing without using a stitch of electricity. Here's the secret. So this is what's known as a frost-free hydrant. Like if you're looking to buy one yourself, just Google frost-free hydrant. You're as cold as ice. Usually a model like this or something similar is gonna pop up. The way it works is really straightforward. It actually all starts back here over by the house. We have this well that's buried down about 40-45 feet, and this well pumps up water from deep down below the surface. And yes, this part of pumping the well actually does require electricity. But besides that, there's really no electricity used because the well pumps the water up, sends it into my water system down in the basement of our house. I do filtration and some water softening down in the basement. There's a whole bunch of mechanical gobbledygook that helps us do that stuff. But that's not where the magic happens to get the water out to the animals. So back in May of last year, we actually undertook a project where we dug a trench pretty much right from the house all the way through from where I'm standing, going up and over to the barn and out to where the animals are, all in the name of running connections for both electrical and water. I brought in a local friend who dug the whole trench, and he dug that trench about 6 feet down. See, here in northern Vermont, our frost line is I think about 70 inches. If I'm looking at the map, I'll flash it up on the screen so you guys can get the exact numbers. If you're trying to do a project like this in your area, pay attention to this map, because a map like this tells you how far down you need to dig to keep the groundwater from freezing. In our case, it's about 70 inches. We went down to 72 just to be safe. So underneath me right now is a whole bunch of conduit running from the house all the way to the duck and goose housing and animal area and where you saw that hydrant. And so secret number one for how all this works is I bury that water line down very deep. It's not easy to do, and particularly with our rocky soil, it took a lot of effort. But once you have that line dug, you've now taken water from one part of your farm all the way over to another, and that makes a huge difference. When we were running the water lines, we also were sure to insulate the lines in, basically conduit, as well as like some foam insulation. The idea being you want to do everything you can to protect that line and keep it from getting cold. So we ran one hydrant over to where the ducks and geese are. We ran a second hydrant though over here into the barn. And so when we ultimately have cattle down here in the barn, we'll be able to provide them with ongoing water as well. And as I'm thinking about long-term water infrastructure on our farm, I'm thinking about it in two ways. I'm thinking about it as my winter water setup, as well as the fact that I'm also planning a summer water setup. For example, when I was watering my ducks and geese in the summer, I was using a hose that ran from that hydrant over there all the way out to the back of the pasture wherever the birds were. You know, as I'm making plans for our summer, I'm gonna put in more water tubing kind of all throughout the pasture and the paddock back there. But that tubing isn't gonna be buried underground. That tubing is gonna sit right on top of the ground so that it's easy to access. And I'm really only gonna be using it probably from like late May to say early October, because once things really start to freeze up, you don't wanna have that tubing having water in it, because that water is going to freeze and your tubes are going to burst. And so because of that watering situation, that's going to be the biggest determiner of how I do my winter animal setups. And when you look at the way I keep my ducks and geese and chickens today, it's done in a very tight configuration. One of the main reasons for that is to keep my workload simple as far as getting water to the animals. When I start to have cattle here on the farm, I'll be keeping them actually down here underneath the barn in the winter. And to do that, I'll be able to use that hydrant I just showed you and give them water as well. When it comes to keeping the animals in the summer months though, everybody's gonna be out in the pasture, and I'll be able to use things like above ground water hosing to get water out to the animals. Now the second engineering marvel I'm contending with is actually the hydrant itself, because the way this hydrant is designed is pretty miraculous. So the way the hydrant works is there's a rod that runs all the way from the water line that's buried down in the ground about 6 feet, going up to this top handle. The way it works is, as I pull the handle up, what it's doing is pulling the rod up along with a plunger that's keeping the water from coming up. And it's releasing that plunger and letting the water shoot up the pipe. And then when it comes time to turn it off, all I have to do is press this down. It drains the remaining water that's in there. The other thing that you'll notice too, right? It takes a few seconds for the water to start flowing. That's because it takes some time just for the water pressure to build up and let the water start running through the pipe. Bam. See? I personally love waiting for it, and I love to like count exactly how long it takes. And so just like that, I have nice fresh water for the animals. Watering the animals remains one of the biggest chores here on the farm. But ever since I put in these water lines, it's made it a lot easier than the old way I had it. You want some Toby food now, Pablo, huh? All right, come on. Now, just because the water doesn't freeze as I pipe it out to the animals, doesn't mean it doesn't freeze once I put it out to them. I still have to break up the ice. Rise and shine, Shilky chickens. Release the Kraken! Let loose the goose! Good morning, everybody. Hey, Bruce the Goose, how's it going, buddy? The remnants of our Christmas tree are right here. I don't know. I don't think they really like it that much. Seems like they're eating it a little bit, though. You can see definite examples of goose work over here. General Washington, are you causing problems with the geese? Buddy boy, you don't want to have that fight, man. You're not going to win it. General Washington over here was just trying to take on the biggest and meanest gander we got. What were you thinking, buddy boy? You're becoming one tough rooster. But they have made a mess of your food station, man. I don't know what to tell you. I was saying this on our live farm meeting the other day, but I think I'm gonna have to build a new little mini barn somewhere right around here for Toby and the new puppy and probably 2 new barn cats. Like, I'm thinking of putting it somewhere right around here so it's, you know, close to all the birds. It's like a small little barn or shed, something probably like 9x6, that I can make sure I can feed and water the dogs and the cats and keep them out of trouble, and also keep the birds away from them, because the birds just make a mess of things sometimes. Isn't that right, Toby dog? Yeah. Oh, such a good pup. You're such a good puppy dog. There was actually one last thing I wanted to show you related to the water system, but I'm gonna have to take you up to the barn. So why don't you come with me? And now here we are on the second floor of the barn. So now the way our barn is designed, it's what's known as a bank barn. And the 3rd floor has a ramp that goes out to the pasture. So in the olden days, what they would do is they would load up hay and put it up on the 3rd floor where all the hay lofts are. So the hay would be stored way up there. And then here on the 2nd floor, what they do is they'd actually keep the cattle over here. Sorry if it's a little too dark, but they would take the hay from this side of the barn and they would shuffle it under here, and then they'd swing them underneath these flaps and use that to feed the animals. According to my neighbor, they used to keep as many as 25 cows up here. This is where they would feed and milk the cows. They would put the hay in here, and then they'd put their heads right in these stanchions. And there's actually like a little flappy deal that would let them push the manure down below onto the 1st floor. It's a remarkably ingenious system that they have designed here on this barn. You know, those old Vermonters, they knew what they were doing. But when I give people tours of our barn, the one question they always ask is water. Like, how did they handle water? This barn was built like in the 1890s or so, and we didn't even get electricity on our farm till at least 1920. And so if that was the case, how did they keep their water from freezing in the dead of winter? And you can actually see the old water infrastructure here. Like here's an old water pipe. You can even see one of the old cup waterers that they used to use to get the water to the cows. And well, the secret was that they would just always keep the water moving. They had a spring over there by the creek that they would run a line all the way over to here. They would make sure that that line of water would never stop moving. And they would always make sure that the water, even going up to the second floor here, would never stop moving. By having it constantly trickling down and by constantly having your water move, that's another way to keep your water from freezing. And so if you're out there trying to think of strategies to keep your animal's water from freezing, don't neglect the power of having moving water, because it's a great way to keep your water from freezing. You know, people often ask me about the spring that we have over there and whether or not I'm going to ever start using it again. I was using it originally on the farm, but then we had some problems where it stopped running. And I even made a video about going out to find that spring. If you want to see that video, take a look at it. And sometime in the near future, I'll tell you about the spring and my plans for the future. Thanks for watching, guys.